Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Robert Stickle. I'm also joined by my colleague Jim Patterson. Jim will be today's presenter and will discuss the topic of the future of Microsoft Project Portfolio Management for delivering value to your organization. This webinar covers some big changes happening within the Microsoft ecosystem, and if at any point during this presentation a question arises or you'd like some more insight into how this may impact your organization, feel free to reach out directly using the contact information in this presentation or by using the OnePlan website. Now, without further delay, I want to thank you again for joining us, and I'll turn the presentation over to Jim.
Thanks, Robert, and welcome everybody. Exciting times, changing times at Microsoft. The world of Microsoft project portfolio management, and overall task and work management has been evolving at Microsoft for quite some time, and it continues to do so. I've been attending some of the sessions at Microsoft Ignite that's going on right now, and just some exciting announcements. A lot of buzz around AI and other things to coalesce technologies and make people spend less time communicating and more time creating is really the focus of a lot of that. And a lot of exciting stuff in the Microsoft technology world that's going on right now. But today, we're going to focus on the future of Microsoft Project Portfolio Management, also known as PPM, for delivering better value to your organization. So we're going to talk a little bit about what's coming and what's next. Now, if we look at the history and the prior evolution of Microsoft Project in the overall work management realm, we've had Microsoft Project on the desktop, Project Professional, for many, many years. And it's been a go-to and the most prevalent scheduling tool that's been out there for many years for the dedicated project manager, the one who needs advanced scheduling capabilities, who needs all the bells and whistles to do things for the classically trained project manager. And it's been very popular and it's done a great job over the years. Probably the only downside is there's so much capability in there that sometimes it's intimidating to the casual user, and that a lot of those capabilities, maybe some people have this tool, maybe only use 10% of it. But overall, it's been a stalwart in the project management and project management scheduling profession for many, many years. Now, the evolution of that was to take these schedules that people were building on the desktop and really provide portfolio management capabilities for those and provide a repository for all those schedules. And hence, Project Server came along first with an on-prem solution, but as the advent of the cloud came, that was supplanted by Project Online, giving you a repository-based PPM or project and portfolio management solution that used Microsoft Project Professional as the scheduler, as the tool that would create the actual detailed schedules and feed those into the portfolio. Now, while all this was happening, Microsoft recognized the need for more simplified task and work management. And they came up with Microsoft Planner with a more simple, mostly used as a Kanban style interface that people can actually do their own simple individual tasks and to-dos and other things like that that they had to work on. And that was actually provided as a service or as an application that came along with your Microsoft 365 or then Office 365 subscription, so that you had that capability just as a value add for being a subscriber to the overall platform. And people started using this very widely. Now, it is just simple task management, progressing tasks and understanding where you're at and what you've done, what you've not done, those types of things. And there was a gap, as you see here in the middle. And that gap, Microsoft decided to fill with a new innovation over the last few years called Microsoft's Project for the Web. And the idea is that, that Kanban style work and planner was nice, but it really had no scheduling capabilities in there. But, for that kind of uninitiated, that informal, occasional project manager had to manage projects where Microsoft Project Professional might have been too heavy for them. This Project for the Web was designed to make it easy to get started, a web-based interface to do just the basics in scheduling, but do have that scheduling engine to put things like dependencies and things in. And Microsoft brought that into the mix to fill that void for that user base, as they saw with the modern user that they needed these things in a more simplified fashion, quick to get used, and not everybody that gets tasked with managing projects is a classically trained project manager. Now, challenges here to this were different technologies, the data where Planner is stored, is different from where Microsoft Project Online data was stored, which was in a SharePoint-based solution. Project for the Web was based on the new Power Platform, and the data was stored in the Dataverse. So once again, we were creating this situation where we had silos of information. And then Microsoft provided a whole other slew of work management and task management tools that were available to you in different parts of the Microsoft cloud or the Microsoft platform. Just in Office 365 alone, there was task capabilities within Teams and Planner to do. People would do work in Outlook or in SharePoint, and then etc. As well as in Project, there was now Microsoft Project Professional, and there was now Project for the Web. The Agile folks were in Azure DevOps using Azure Boards. There were professional services automation folks in Dynamics using the new Project Operations, etc. The idea here is that there was tasks and work being assigned to people from a lot of different directions, a lot of different angles, and there was a lot of task switching and context switching that had to happen, which breeds loss of productivity overall. So in the overall market landscape, Microsoft took a look at where they were at with their tool sets, and recent things that they did in their studies, they found that collaborative work management is a big need out there. For that business user, that informal project manager like we talked about, to be able to do things like individual task management, team projects, simple Kanban, be able to maybe, establish some goals, and maybe even do some things like the issues and risks and dependencies and those types of things. Lighter weight than some of the heavier things that we see done in a traditional project and portfolio management realm. And there's also this enterprise work management where let's just say the elevated needs and requirements are there, where you have professional project managers, you have PMOs and EPMOs, you have executive teams where they need to have advanced portfolio management capabilities. They need to have resource management and resource capacity planning, maybe doing objectives and key results, even doing things like financials and maybe even advanced scheduling capabilities. But that is something that there's an audience for that we'll talk about here today. But collaborative work management is the direction where Microsoft is going with this new wave with Project for the Web and where they're going with the technology today. So the state of collaborative work management, why Microsoft is focusing there, is that Microsoft did some assessment. They did some studies of their own where they found that 59% of employees said their collaboration tools are not aligned with how they work, which is not a good thing if you're trying to be effective. 64% of employees say current tools don't integrate with their organization's processes, meaning you probably have friction there as far as trying to make the tools you have coalesce and work seamlessly or in concert with the processes that you're trying to follow. And then 72% of employees wish their collaboration tools were compatible with one another, meaning there could be byplay between those so that we can leverage them in a seamless fashion. And this was from a Microsoft Work Lab that was done. And those were some of the outcomes and some of the findings. Even the third-party analysts like Gartner say collaborative work management empowers business users to plan, carry out, and manage their work, from the market guide for collaborative work management from Gartner that was done in 2023. And also the hype cycle for hybrid work, Gartner also said CWM, which is the acronym for collaborative work management tools, are natural complements to workstream collaboration, visual collaboration tools, and meeting solutions, things like Teams, etc. So the idea that we have this need and this void to be better collaboratively together within our organizations to get more things done. So Microsoft's project management vision since the outset of their Project for the Web that we talked about was to be able to have teams work the way they want. We have different methodologies and frameworks being used, people doing more waterfall, more agile along with that, maybe some hybrids of those two or variations of the theme. And depending on the nature and the type of the work they want, they may switch back and forth between those things. But the enterprises still need what they need. The executives need the information to make decisions. They need to understand and track these things in a way so they can make sure that they're putting dollars and effort towards the more high value things to provide benefits to the organization and to both internal and external customers. And this has been the focus of Microsoft with the modern technology and the newer innovations. So if we take just tasks and project management tools, we had Microsoft Planner we talked about for the lighter weight stuff. Now, Microsoft Project for the Web was developed for the more project manager who needed to schedule things and be easier to use for the informal project manager. And then there's Microsoft To Do, just another place to create tasks, etc. Now, Microsoft did, coalesce and bring some of this together when they first in Teams put together tasks by planner and to be able to bring into one pane of glass within Teams the things and the tasks you created in planner and your plans within planner, and also things you might create as to-dos within to-do and be able to have them in all-in-one tool set so you didn't have that task switching, that you could go and actually work with them in that place. But Project for the Web was not part of that. Now, if we look at what's happening now, Microsoft has got to-do, planner, and project combined coming here in the not too distant future, whereby all of this is going to coalesce together. And they announced here yesterday at Ignite the new Microsoft Planner, which will be one simple, familiar experience for task and project management all together. And this will include the capabilities of to-do, of planner, and of Project for the Web, all within a single user experience. As you can see down below, there are some blogs and some information out in the tech community for Microsoft right now that you can go look at after this webinar. Now, the new Microsoft Planner allows you to manage all these tasks in one place, but it's designed to, once again, be simple so that occasional, that uninitiated, that not formally trained project manager could manage all their work in a singular place. It's flexible, once again, to work it the way that you want, whether it be a more agile fashion with boards, maybe more of a list, or maybe more of a timeline, etc. It's designed to be scalable so that you can do simple task-based plans for your team, or maybe larger things that you might do for an organization-wide project. And the intelligent piece is really being added because Microsoft has invested heavily in making sure that the benefits of Copilot, its AI assistant out there, is prevalent all through its technology stack, and that is also going to be true with the new Microsoft Planner. So if I go to give a little demo of this right now, let me share my screen and play a video from Microsoft yesterday at Ignite that basically show how this is going to play out.
The new Planner app in Microsoft Teams, coming in early 2024, allows you to see all of your work across Microsoft 365 in a single location. Keeping intelligence at its core, Planner also includes the power of AI with new Copilot features to help you get started and stay on top of all of your work. In Planner, you have the freedom to create different types of plans based on the complexity of your projects. Start with a basic plan for your simple projects using the Planner experience included in Microsoft 365, or create a premium plan for enhanced project management capabilities like task dependencies, goal setting, and additional customizations. Get started using one of the templates like Project Budget, Sprint Retrospective, or Goals and Objectives, or start with a blank plan to create any plan that you need. For now, let's start with a basic plan just for yourself. Here, you can plan out your own work, like a career plan or a personal to-do list, or start drafting work for an upcoming team project, like a marketing campaign. All of the tasks are visible in the different views. Grid view to see tasks in a simple list, board view to see tasks grouped by different fields, schedule view to see when each task will be worked on, or charts view to get a quick understanding of your plan's progress. When you need to share with others, you can easily do so by adding team members to the plan, or if you have an existing group, simply add that group. Once the plan is shared, it's simple to assign work to the correct people so everyone can quickly get started on their tasks. The Planner app in Microsoft Teams is designed to grow with you, so if you discover that you need additional functionality beyond what's offered in a basic plan, it's easy to try out premium features. In just a few clicks, you can get started using a premium template and get access to all premium capabilities. With premium plans, you also have access to the power of AI with Copilot, which can help you save time by creating relevant tasks quickly. Simply tell Copilot what you would like to accomplish, and it will add a set of tasks to your plan. Premium plans also give you access to a range of advanced project management capabilities, like goal setting, so everyone knows what you are working towards and how their work will have impact. You can also set dependencies between your tasks and see the full timeline for your project in a Gantt chart format, which includes the critical path for your plan. Organize your tasks into sprints to manage work in an agile way. Easily load balance work across your team using People View. And customize your plan by adding custom fields to tasks, conditional coloring on the grid view, and even set custom working calendars so tasks are only scheduled on the days you work. You can easily find any of your plans in the My Plans page, where all of your plans will be organized for easy access. For even quicker discovery, pin your favorite plans so you can open them from anywhere within the app. You can also quickly see all the work that is assigned to you by heading to the My Tasks page, where there is a list of tasks you are responsible for, no matter where they were assigned to you in the Microsoft 365 ecosystem. Finally, use the My Day view to stay focused on what you need to accomplish today. Here, you will see any tasks that are due the same day, along with any tasks that you choose to add, so you remember to stay focused on them. And for frontline organizations, Planner offers task publishing to centrally define tasks, quickly distribute work at scale, and monitor results across your organization. To learn more about how Planner can help serve frontline organizations, visit aka.ms/task publishing in Planner. Using the new power of Copilot to get started on a new project faster than ever, and with all of your tasks in one place, it's never been easier to stay organized and on top of your work. Whether you need simple task management tools or advanced project management capabilities, Planner is the one-stop shop for organization and collaboration.
All right. So hopefully that video gave you a preview of what's coming with Microsoft Planner. So what is the future of Microsoft Project and Portfolio Management, given that that's the direction and the focus of Microsoft today? Well, we said everything was going to be delivered in the Microsoft Cloud, and collaborative work management is going to be provided by this new Planner capability. Okay, this new combined capability of Planner, Project for the Web, and Teams coming together to provide that capability for you. When you want to get into more project portfolio management or PPM, Project Online has handled that in the past, but that is not where Microsoft's investing its time and development resources these days. So it's still here for a while, but for people that want to leverage the new technologies, OnePlan is here to add all these capabilities to the collaborative work management capabilities of Project for the Web and Planner today, and eventually Planner for Teams. So the idea there is that we can extend that collaborative work management capabilities to provide PPM capabilities in the new world, as well as strategic portfolio management capabilities. The truly advanced folks in the PPM world want to do things like strategies, enterprise and business architecture, aligning things with different aspects of that, and have things like what if modeling and other things like that to make these things a more robust EPMO based type of solution that allows the whole enterprise to manage enterprise-wide initiatives and cross-functional initiatives across the organization. And OnePlan can provide by adding on and complementing what's going on with the Microsoft development, adding those capabilities in a seamless fashion. So if we think about OnePlan complementing, think about Project for the Web, for example, today. And that you can do projects and tasks in there and do reports and dashboards on those things and put dependencies in, beyond what you can do in Planner today. Viva Goals can do strategy and OKRs. But OnePlan can add a variety of things to the degree that you would like it. Add these things to the capabilities that you'd like advanced portfolio management, prioritization and what if modeling, detailed financials, resource capacity planning, timesheets for people that need to do that for capitalization of labor or chargebacks or even billing to clients. These types of capabilities are needed to be added for the people that have those capabilities and those needs and those requirements. And OnePlan can be the perfect complement to what's being provided by Project for the Web. On top of that, these same capabilities are not just limited to Project for the Web. For example, those of you that still want to continue to use Microsoft Project Professional on the desktop, or use Planner as it currently is today, or maybe you're doing Azure DevOps and using Azure boards, or more, you may be using things like Jira or Smartsheet in your organization. The idea is that we can pull all those things into this portfolio mix through our connector technology and provide all this capability in blue, regardless of which scheduling tool you're using to build your tasks and your projects. On top of that, we're already ready to go to support you in this Mac with the new planner that combines both project for the web and planner into the same mix. So if we look at capabilities that OnePlan does provide in a little more detail, there's that whole intake process whereby you may be establishing strategies, and that could be built in OnePlan or provided by things like Viva Goals to be able to provide that, to execute on that, but not only to execute on it, but to align it with your eventual projects. The enterprise architecture and business architecture elements allows us to have ancillary portfolios if we have things like application portfolios or product portfolios that we need to align our projects and initiatives with. And then the intake side, the whole idea of ideation and requests so that we can formally vet things before we decide to embark upon them is all what's provided by OnePlan and added into that mix. Now, once we get to the planning stage of the intake, we have advanced portfolio management capability and visibility such that you can have more traditional like grid views or what we call list views within OnePlan. We have portfolio Kanbans for the more agile folks, and even roadmap views for the more product and deliverable oriented types of folks. All views of the same portfolio, but different perspectives. Resource capacity planning. Do we have the bandwidth or the wherewithal to do what we're committing to and be able to have our finger on the pulse of that at all the time? Financial planning, be able to manage your detailed financials, whether it be your budgets, your revised forecasts, your actuals, or even track prospective benefits or revenue. Those types of things are capable right within OnePlan. And then what if scenario modeling in this ever fast changing world that we're in today, be able to look at alternatives and respond to changes on the ground, be able to look at scenarios and see what the best course of action is something OnePlan provides for you. On the execution side, OnePlan does have work plan capabilities that can be fed by other scheduling tools like Project, like Planner, like Smartsheet, like Azure DevOps, like Jira. The idea there is OnePlan can actually allow you to do the planning that you need to do, but also pull it in from the tools that you love today. Now, the individual resource managers also can help by actually doing resource planning within individual plans and have that all feed in via resource negotiation to that overall capacity plan that we talked about in the portfolio management process. And then let's not forget the team members. The team members have to be able to status everything that's been put on their plate, regardless of where it comes from. Can you imagine where you have Project, Planner, Smartsheet, Jira, Azure DevOps, having all that work coming into one place so a team member only has one place to go? Avoid that task switching that we talked about to going to different tools to provide their status updates. Or even a timesheet where they have one place to go to report time against all this to meet the needs of the organization for why they're using time reporting in the first place. On the analysis side of things, status reports that are a natural output of the process without having to manually cobble those together. Dashboards at the portfolio level, at the program level, project level, even down at the individual task and resource levels is something that's provided via Power BI. And then visualizations, as we talked about how these things can interrelate, where we might be aligned with strategies, we might be aligned with different enterprise architecture elements, we might be aligned with other projects and initiatives. The idea to see how this complex landscape, how these things interrelate and see, is everything that we're dependent on or associated with, is it on track, or are other people putting us at risk? Those are things that we can do through OnePlan. Ultimately, our goal is to deliver successfully the products, services, applications, the business value, and get the benefits realization that we're looking for. Now, OnePlan is definitely all in on the AI train. Our own personal artificial intelligence assistant, Sophia GPT, is there to help us better analyze and better make decisions and be more effective in our execution across this. So the whole idea is up front to be able to choose the right work and do the right work, and then have the tools to do the work right or do it well. Now, when we talked about integrations, we're not talking about custom code. We're talking about productized connectors that allow us to connect to other tools of different genres. For example, the agile or software development tools like Azure DevOps or Jira, the work management tools or scheduling tools that we talked about prior. But that's not limited to those. We have connectors for popular financial or ERP systems, ideation systems, other CRM systems for professional services organizations where that might be the intake, or even service management systems that are out there. The idea is that we can bring about a common hub and minimize the task switching that may be going on today and losing productivity each time that we do. The other aspect of OnePlan is in the Microsoft Cloud, its complementary approach to what Microsoft is doing allows us to fuse OnePlan and surface it in the tools that you work in every day. Now, OnePlan is designed so that it can be used just in your favorite browser. However, if you're using Power Apps within your organization, we can surface and use OnePlan within the context of Power Apps. It's also an authorized Microsoft Teams application, meaning that you can actually use OnePlan within the context of Teams. So you could either use it within an individual team or a channel, or you can use it in Teams overall, just as an application such that you don't have to leave and you can work with the other tools that you're actually using within Teams as well. We do the same thing within Azure DevOps, where not only do we integrate with Azure DevOps data, but you can actually use OnePlan while you're actually in Azure DevOps. And the same holds true if you're in Dynamics, or the same holds true if you're in SharePoint. So the idea here is it's really fused in and part of your Microsoft user experience. And we'll talk a little bit more about Sophia GPT. Now, Microsoft is going whole hog with Copilot, and Copilot's touching every aspect of Microsoft 365. But Sophia was designed to allow this Azure OpenAI GPT, which we leverage because of the protection that's there and the reliability of the Microsoft platform. But we've trained it to understand PPM. We've trained it to understand OnePlan. We've trained it to understand the views that you might have in OnePlan of the data that are in there, such that you can get good answers and support on those things particular to your use of OnePlan and the Microsoft tools from a project, portfolio, and work management perspective. So with that, I thought I'd do a brief demonstration just to show you that these things are all here today. So right now, I'm looking at a portfolio view within OnePlan, and I'll just do a high-level overview today. It allows us to structure our portfolio any way we like, and I'm in what they call list views right now. And if you notice here, I've got a plan type hierarchy, which you can configure to model for your business, but I've got different portfolios, which have programs within those portfolios. And then I have projects, which are more waterfall projects, and epics, which are more agile projects in this hierarchy. Now, if I look at one branch of this, the portfolio of data analytics transformation as a program of enterprise data platform, and then I have a series of projects and epics within that program. Now, if you notice, I have a number of icons next to these projects and epics. What this indicates to me is I have other tools that are connected to these projects and or epics that are being leveraged in conjunction with OnePlan. For example, I have an MS Planner project that's connected to Microsoft Planner. I've got Azure DevOps connected here. I've got Microsoft Project for the Web connected here. I've got Microsoft Project Professional connected here. And non-Microsoft tools like Smartsheet and or Jira also connected here. The key there is that within one portfolio, the use of these other tools can all coalesce and come together into a common hub within the OnePlan portfolio. Now, these different list views can have different perspectives, like I'm looking at a very KPI-oriented type of view right here, but I could also look at things from a more of a financial summary. I could look at things more effort-oriented, etc. So the idea there is I can look at it very flexibly any way I like. We also have board views, such that I can come in and look at these items by any particular element that I like. So, for example, if I was going to look at these things by say by business unit. So here I've got a board by business unit that allows me to look at all the different business units that I have in these different columns. I can actually decide what items I'd like to have swim lanes for, and I can see the status, red, yellow, green. And I can also see dependencies that are going across all those, and I can have different variations of the theme here. On the roadmap views, let's just say I also look at this, say, by business unit. I can look at which business units I'm doing which projects for and the timelines and dependencies around that. I can look at them by different things, like, for example, I might have different goals in which things these applications or these projects are dealing with. So the idea here is I have very flexible views on how I would look at this portfolio. Now, if I go back to the list view, just to make it clear, since you can see the icons over there, let me go to portfolio summary view. And let me just break this one out. And in this particular case, let's look at, the different types of connectors that we might want to work into. Now, we talked about the new project for the web. Well, this particular project is connected to project for the web. So if I drill into that particular project, what we'll see is that the work plan for here, and this is a very simple one that's in here right now. This could have been built right here in OnePlan. It could have been built from templates here, etc. But what we'll see here is this one's got an active connection to a project for the web plan, and it's synchronizing that as its source. So in using the Microsoft platform, and this will be true when the new planner comes out as well, to be able to connect to this Planner Premium tool, as they'll be calling it later on. But the idea here is this project for the web, that plan is the source of what's being synchronized over there. So the data and the changes that are being made over here are being synchronized on a regular basis. Our connector tool will periodically sync, typically hourly, to get that data over here without the end user having to do anything, but you could manually bring over the data at any time you wanted if you have a reporting deadline, etc., to be able to make that happen. And so this work plan is happening in a schedule where we might also be tracking things like our issues, risks, our changes, and things all within that work plan, along with all the things we might be doing around resource capacity planning, the things we might be doing around financials, the things we might be doing around all the other portfolio level details we might be capturing around this particular project, so be able to capture those above and beyond what we might be tracking in the schedules. Now, if I go back to the portfolio and I went and looked and say, I could do the same thing with Project Professional on the desktop. If I go click on this one and I look at the plan and see that this one's connected to Project Desktop, this one's going to open up that plan that we're actually connected to as the source of the data within OnePlan. So here's the plan that's the source of that, and our connector for OnePlan allows us to publish that data out to OnePlan, as well as receive updates back. So if I go in here, I can publish, I can receive updates that come back from the team from over in OnePlan, as well as be able to do all the other types of things that we would do in OnePlan to layer on top of what we would do in the scheduling tool itself. The same thing holds true since we were talking about Planner today. If I go in here and I look at a very simple Planner plan, I think I have a very simple one in here, but the idea here is if I go look at the work plan here within Planner, very simple plan that's in here. This one is connected to Planner itself, and I can see by opening up that particular plan that somebody is working with this and updating it right here within Planner. So I've got some to-dos, I've got nothing in progress right now, and I got a couple completed tasks that are synchronized over into OnePlan and rolling up into that portfolio of data. And I would say this, as people are doing things within Agile and things like that, I could come back to the portfolio and say, let me look at a work plan for this Azure DevOps plan that's in here. And within the work plan, just like we have plan types, we have a schedule work type and a backlog work type, meaning we could have our Azure DevOps backlog synchronized right into OnePlan. And the idea here is that these are sourced. You see the little Azure DevOps icons next to here. These are actually coming from a connection to Azure DevOps. And it's this connection here that's live and active that's synchronizing that data on a regular basis, such that it's all keeping our portfolio up to date on a regular basis and allowing us to work within Azure DevOps, okay? Do the things we need to do with our backlogs and our children items to this particular epic, but also be able to actually access OnePlan from within here. So the OnePlan capabilities that I showed you to be able to do resource capacity planning, be able to do financial tracking, things that Azure DevOps isn't going to do for you. Those capabilities can be done right from within Azure DevOps. So here are the backlog items that are synchronized over back into OnePlan. Here's the resource capacity planning data that we're doing over in OnePlan while I'm in Azure DevOps. Same thing with the financials, etc. Those things are all available to us within here. Even the OnePlan status reporting, etc. The types of things that we might look in here and say, here's a status report that basically is automatically created but gives us the ability to put our narratives in there. That's all accessible within OnePlan or while we're in Azure DevOps in this particular case. So once again, not to belabor the point, but a flexible portfolio that allows us to do these things. And if you have the need to do something that's not connected to another tool, if you notice here, this particular project only has a Teams icon, meaning it's connected to a Microsoft team for content and collaboration purposes, but it doesn't have access, it's not connected to a scheduling tool, meaning whatever scheduling is being done right here within OnePlan by itself. So the idea, you have the flexibility and the power of choice here. Now, the resource capacity planning that you saw in the individual project plans, those will all roll up into an overall resource capacity plan. So if I come in here and go look at, let's see, IT and product development, say, and I go to look at the overall resource summary. Now I can see very quickly that I've got these different resources, and I can see like I've got Gavin Belson looks overloaded. And why is he overloaded? Because I can see that he's on all these different projects, all at the same time. If I wanted to switch this from an hours view to an FTEs view, I could see here that I've got Gavin, well over a full FTE for a long stretch of time within this. I can even look at these things by other views. So for example, if I was going to look at these things by, say, by a roll up, and I was going to look in here at my developers, and I can see that my developers are overloaded here. I can see that I still have generic developer hours that have been allocated. We haven't really put a name to yet, so I got to do that. I also have Ehrlich here, who's on all these different projects, and if I look at this from a FTE perspective, I can see overall that I've got some needs here that I've got to take care of, and possibly need to either take Ehrlich off of a couple of these things. Let's say maybe I need to get him off of this SEO optimization plan, and I need to find a replacement for him. I can possibly find a best match that might have bandwidth in that period of time that I could actually then do a replace of him on and do that trade-off and do that balancing of my resources dynamically as I go through this. And I would say this, as we go through all this, your team members, or all your users for that matter, have their own individual homepage where they have direct access to the things that they're personally involved in. So not only do I have direct access to the plans in here that I'm currently have access to, I also have insights on things that require my attention. I even have conversation threads that happen here within there where I can look at it on a task level, a resource level, or even on a plan level, what things are done, and I can go view the entire thread, but keep current on the latest conversations that are coming up on the things that I'm related to. Also, the My Work area allows me to come in here and see on any type of work what I need to do, whether it's an issue, a backlog item, a task on a project, etc. All those things are here in one place, no matter how many projects I'm on, to update those all in one place. And the other item that I mentioned was the time reporting. For those people that need to do that, a very flexible, configurable timesheet that allows me to charge time to these things, be able to put notes of explanation of what I'm charging time on, and even do things and add to the conversation threads on the things that I'm charging time to as well. And once again, full approval process, both from plan managers and from resource or functional managers as well. So once again, all this feeds together in a common hub. I would say two more things. One is on the capabilities of OnePlan. We can do what-if analysis through our modeler capabilities, meaning I can come in and without impacting the source data, I can actually create different models and allow me to basically go in and compare alternatives. So for example, here I can create a model where I have a number of projects that are being considered. But as I put constraints on these things, whether they be resource or financial constraints, for example, I can come in and, like, say, for example, if I have a constraint of $10 million, I might select a group of projects, but it looks like I can only do 17 of these projects and still come within the financial budget that I need in order to make that happen. I might say, well, what if I did a $12 million budget and see how much more I could do? It looks like I can do significantly more projects within that $12 million budget than I could before. And the idea there is that I can compare these alternatives and look at them and even see from a resource perspective, do I have the resources? And it looks like I've got a lot of green in here, which means I'm in pretty good shape here to be able to look at this alternative and be able to accomplish this scenario. Now, as we're looking at different scenarios, I can compare the different scenarios and how they look in comparison to one another. I can look at the details around, what projects were selected or not selected in each particular one and where the prioritization came out to be. I can even do things like look at your traditional, portfolio management bubble charts. Take a look at making sure the things that did make the cut are high priority, are high benefit to us as an organization, and even be able to look at the things I didn't select in the gray and make sure I'm not excluding something that I should reconsider because it's something that's important. Not only is it important of a value, but other things might be dependent on it. So our visualizer, as I talked about, would allow me to look at dependencies and see all the selected plans and see what unselected projects there may be dependencies on and see if I might want to reconsider based upon the things that are required. And I can look at everything that's dependent on one another, whether they be strategies, whether they be other plans, or even things like products and applications, etc. So once again, get a good visibility into my alternatives before I decide which course of action to go with. Now, we did talk about enterprise architecture in the slides, and I will just leave it at this to say, for those of you that have that need, we can either store in here or leverage from an enterprise architecture repository different portfolios, like your product portfolio or your business capabilities portfolio or your application portfolio, and be able to not only track those here within OnePlan, but we can also align them with projects like we saw in that visualizer with all the dependencies and associations that we had with all those different relationships that were there. We can even do value stream mapping in that regard as well. I guess the last thing I'll leave with is this whole idea of ideas. We talked about a funnel or of ideas that can come in, and we have a place in OnePlan where you can capture those ideas and you can capture the aspects around that you'd like to, and the data points that you'd like to have. Now, in this idea, you have to prioritize and select. Now, we have prioritization scoring that's calculated in here based on a model. It can be configured to whatever your prioritization model is. But let me use Sophia real quick to ask a simple question, and I'm just going to do this in a simple case. We've done other webinars with more detailed examples and a myriad of examples of using this. But let me go in and ask Sophia a question about all these ideas and requests that we have here. I'm going to ask, based on priority and ROI, what 3 projects should we approve first and why out of all the ones that we see here? And it's going to go in and it's going to evaluate that. And as it's thinking, it's going to be considering probably more dimensions than we would as we looked at it with our human analysis. So out of this, it selected cybersecurity audit based upon its priority, the budget to benefits ratio, the prioritization score, and it's also bringing significant benefits in the area of innovation for the company, which is important. Voice assistant integration and the rationale behind that. It's giving me website redesign and the rationale behind that. So the idea here is it's giving me answers based on the criteria that I have, and it allows me to leverage this in my decision making. Now, we have all kinds of areas in here that Sophia can help us with, just like Copilot can help you with in the Microsoft Direct tools. But the idea here is that you're not alone. You do have an assistant now that will help augment our own skill sets. So with that, let's wrap up with a summary and next steps. So what we covered here today was that Microsoft is in the process of reimagining and combining Project for the Web and Planner, and even To Do in here, into a new planner that'll be available to us starting in the spring. Now, Microsoft is focusing in these areas on the collaborative work management sphere, as we can see. And for those of you that have more advanced needs beyond that, OnePlan does provide a platform for extending the new Microsoft Planner and those tools to provide full PPM, project and portfolio management, and SPM, strategic portfolio management capabilities. OnePlan integrates with other solutions and tools as needed, as we talked about with our connector technology, and OnePlan is delivered fully from the Microsoft cloud. OnePlan also provides the solutions, services, and migration and support to ensure customer transition value and success. Because we're connected to this myriad of other Microsoft tools, we give you that roadmap such that wherever the Microsoft tools are going, like the future of Project Online, for example, we provide that portfolio management capability irrespective of that, and brings everything together in a common hub. So if certain things change, certain things go away, we're still going to be there as that portfolio hub that's bringing all those different tools together. Now, OnePlan, we do this because this is what we do, project and portfolio management. We're consistently recognized as a market leader here, specifically as a Microsoft partner over the years. In the last 5 years running, we've been either their global PPM partner of the year or their finalist for 5 consecutive years. And we're also recognized in this discipline by folks like Gartner. We just got their 2023 Peer Insights Voice of the Customer in strategic portfolio management, as well as people like Infotech Research and Software Reviews, etc. We do webinars like this all the time. Our next webinar is actually going to be done with a partner of ours, Exco Partners out of Australia. And it's going to be the future of PPM with Microsoft tools, and OnePlan will be the topic there. Similar topic, but they'll put their own slant on that. They're a very good reseller and implementing partner of ours and of Microsoft Cloud Technologies. We also have on-demand webinars. So we do all these all the time. So there's a rich library out there you can look at, and not just wait for the next one if you want to see some good content out there. You can also trial this stuff. Go to oneplan.ai/solutions or up on Microsoft App Source. And I would say out of all the different solution templates, the one that's the most fully capable is the strategic portfolio management, which has everything in it. So if you want to try every aspect of what OnePlan has to offer, try that strategic portfolio management template. And we're actually happy to chaperone you in this trial and guide you to help you get the most out of that trial experience. So just as far as free offers and next steps, yes, the trial. If you want a roadmap workshop, we have great insights on what it takes to get you from where you're at now to get you into a solution like we talked about here today, or some variation of that. So we have some good knowledge on what it takes, and you may own a lot of the technology or most of the technology that you're going to need already in order to make that happen. And if you're not quite there yet and you just want to see more details, I gave a very high-level demo today. So a personalized one-on-one demo for you that focuses on your pain points, your requirements, your use cases. We're happy to do that. Just reach out to us at contact@oneplan.ai, or just research more about our solutions at oneplan.ai on the web. So with that, I would like to thank you for your time and attention today. I know your time is valuable. So we think of OnePlan as being the power of one, even as we bring Microsoft tools and other tools into the mix, into one common hub, one user experience, one hub for all of this, so that siloed existence and that fragmented sets of data no longer have to be a barrier for us, and we can get more effective and spend more time being creative and being productive. Thank you, and have a great day.